I am Jermani Martin, Senior Director of Automation with Asure Software. I have been using the Automation Anywhere product for about 4 years now. Some of our use cases with Asure Software has been embedding automation into our AML process, anti-money laundering process as well, and also using automation to navigate some of our legacy applications to extract information from the UI. The challenges we're trying to solve with Automation Anywhere is extracting information from our legacy applications. We do not have exposed endpoints, so we actually had to use Automation Anywhere to be able to navigate and extract information for customers' data information as well. The process and tasks automated by Automation Anywhere is a little bit more in detail. What we've come to figure out as the processes previously were not documented correctly, and through Automation Anywhere allowed us to get more insight and documentation of our processes. Yes, some of the immediate opportunities we see to leverage AI with our processes will be leveraging AI with our operations and our customer service, right? Leveraging the natural language models and the human responses to be able to generate a customer-focused response is something that we plan to leverage very soon. The features we found most valuable will be the documentation automation, as it allows us to focus on the actual important piece of building an automation instead of tracking some of the repugnant documentation that goes along with building automation. Automation Anywhere has improved our organization by allowing our resources to focus on the task at hand that actually impacts our customer, while we use Automation Anywhere to replace some of the redundant work that some of our users and internal team members were facing. Our company's approach about generative AI for Automation Anywhere is more in line building the future, allowing us to actually enhance our processes without necessarily embedding our internal team members with the redundant tasks, allowing them to focus on the actual deliverables of a business versus generating a response to an email or reading an email, allowing them to be a little bit more human-focused team member. The area I think Automation Anywhere can be improved is actually expanding its actual partnership with a few other vendors. I've seen from this conference as well the likelihood of including companies like AWS, Google, and things like that are the exact approach to what I think Automation Anywhere can improve on. Because it allows business users who actually participate and are clients of those, allow for a seamless process integration with Automation Anywhere. And it's allowing for an ecosystem that allows for a more robust development of automation because you get a broader use case amongst multiple users of the same product. Yes, actually looking into Automation Anywhere in terms of the relationship with AWS, we actually manage our servers locally for our VMs, and we're looking to migrate actually to AWS. So the partnership there to be able to integrate some of our processes and allow access to some of our DBs through AWS will be a really good improvement for ours. Automation Anywhere is very easy to use for people who do not have experience because it is a no-code solution and it is very user-friendly in terms of being able to kind of generate an automation with a bucket and a plethora of available tasks and variables. Maybe 1 or 2 automations, right, to walk through the actual process. It takes a very short amount of time for a user to get really acquainted with Automation Anywhere. There is some latency with being able to maybe expose certain things like APIs or establish certain connections, but the use of building a recipe or a automation with Automation Anywhere is very short term in terms of development. We're looking and we do not use it currently. Well, we're very excited to use it as we get back. we're planning to have a session here in the next 2 hours about using Copilot with our internal teams. A few tools. We use a lot of Microsoft tools, Azure ID tools that's integrated directly with Automation Anywhere that allows us to kind of expand our cast of ability to automate processes, and those are some of the things that we're excited to. I think we have a few other actually desktop applications that we'd like to use, some of our proprietary softwares as well for integrations with AA. The assessments of our workflows with Automation Anywhere with the integrated documents, it is a very robust platform to be able to do so. So it allows us to maybe make multiple connections and scale horizontally across the actual environment to give us a more robust integration or automation that allows for a downstream impact to whether it's our internal users or our external users of our products, but it allows us the ability to go horizontally very fast with a lot of multiple integrations of products. Yes, automation has helped us save time, art, and cost, both. Sometimes in the same automation, as well as replacing some of the redundant tasks of some of our users, or giving us the ability to scale quicker without adding additional resources. So that will definitely be the cost savings in that aspect. So we've saved hundreds of hours, and some automations we've maybe saved maybe 2 or 3 hours, but the cost impact of being able to do that with automation has saved us a ton of cost as well. So we have quite a few bots running daily, manipulating kind of or removing the redundancy of some of those manual tasks. So just the hours and the resource cost there, hundreds of thousands of dollars. I did not use any automations beforehand, but we do have a partnership with Workato as well, so we do leverage some more API-driven automations as well. I utilize both due to the actual diversity of Automation Anywhere. It gives us the ability to navigate a UI, a more legacy application where Workato gives us the ability to kind of connect maybe APIs, but we do use both of them in the same automation platform. We did evaluate the landscape of automation before we chose Automation Anywhere and the partners and the vendors that offer that service, and we landed on Automation Anywhere, as well as me having previous experience, positive experience with Automation Anywhere, helped make that decision a lot easier for us. Some of the pros is ease of use. It's a very simple platform to understand, a very simple platform to be able to roll out. You don't have to have a robust education in terms of automation. We can train internally. We can expose other POs or PMs to the actual application, and they'll be able to kind of give us additional insights of automations that we can improve. Some of the cons is just the resource assignment, right, outside of our internal team members. Finding resources who have a very good experience with Automation Anywhere is something that's in the States that may be a con for us. The pricing and license of automation is very competitive compared to the other vendors of automation. Automation Anywhere gives us a platform to be able to scale quickly without embedding a lot of costs on our end. So it's very reasonably priced. Yes, I was a part of the actual deployment of Automation Anywhere. It took us about a month to actually deploy. We set up a few runners or virtual machines to be able to do that, worked with our IT team to configure some of the actual runners and making sure that we embedded applications that was going to be useful and practical for the actual automations in itself. And then we walked through a few automations, and then we're able to kind of deploy our first automation within a month's time. It is not difficult to upgrade Automation Anywhere. It is very simple in terms of the control room to be able to do an upgrade or to speak to your account executive to get additional licenses or additional products added to your instance. Solutioning depends on how you build the automation. You keep in mind the actual process of being able to manage automations as you build it, which will ultimately save you a cost on maintenance at the end. Being able to enable notification, error handling within the automation helps kind of reduce the actual maintenance requirements for automation. Not many people are involved in the maintenance of our automations simply because we embed some of the process owners into the process, so they are aware of if a bot was to fail, and we give them corrective actions in terms of exception handling to be able to oversee that bot as well, to be able to reinitiate a bot or add additional variables into that bot to allow the success of that bot. So very minimum people in terms of a bot maintenance is required. The tech support for Automation Anywhere is very user-friendly. They are very responsive. Normally you will get a response within 24 hours, and they will be able to kind of give you an update on an ongoing basis so you're not left in the blind. They keep you involved. They make sure to follow up on a call, with a call if anything is needed. I will rate customer service and tech support for Automation Anywhere at a 10 because I never had an issue. So until they present an issue with my customer service, then I will keep rating them a 10. Automation Anywhere allows us the ability to scale across multiple platforms and different volumes. At a very small scale, you will not have to necessarily readdress that automation or that bot to be able to scale if configured and built correctly. So it's a very scalable approach that you can take in terms of the integration that you have access to. So it allows us a very, very open platform to be able to scale. Rate Automation Anywhere a 9. I believe the improvements Automation Anywhere is doing currently that I have partaken in being aware of in the Imagine conference, I believe they will be in the right directions to gain a 10.